Hi everyone, good morning. Hi. So today we will proceed with our presentation for your assignment for last week. So I think if I'm not mistaken, we still have two more group, which is Noel and Elvin group, right? Yeah. But I check here why both of this none of this group is, I mean, like, they don't have complete member here. We don't have Wang Zisheng here. We don't have Tan Sunyap Daniel, right? Hmm, what do we? Hmm. So since the group is not completed, I mean, like, the member, yeah, both member, both group. So okay, so instead of, because it's already 9:08 a.m., so let's look at our course outline here, our course outline. So today, 17th of September, we are already in here, week 13. Okay, our this one actually we already covered last week, writing good research paper. And it's not last week. Sorry, this lecture note already covered for this subject, for this course. We already cover all the lecture note. Okay, it's not only the lecture note, all the material actually we already covered. So this week, as you can see here, week 13, I need to give feedback on the midterm test. Okay, on your midterm test, I believe I already released your midterm mark to every and each of you. Yeah, I already sent you the email. So today we will discuss the, okay, we, we will discuss the midterm paper since, yeah, so we will discuss the midterm paper since I think that's the only thing we can do while waiting for the our VIP today. So yeah, can I proceed with this midterm paper? I mean, we will discuss. I won't return you because you, for your research method, your question was on in Google form. Okay, so I will discuss as a. I won't return one by one. I won't discuss one by one of your paper. However, I will discuss as a, yeah. I mean, like, I will discuss on the paper. Okay, is it okay for me to proceed with this midterm paper? Okay. So, I think, oh, okay, so this one is your midterm paper for your, wait, okay, so for your midterm last time, it's not last time, last few weeks. Okay, you have two part, which is part A and part B. So part A was objective question, 20 marks. Okay, I believe you guys know already your. I mean, like, even after your
Good
midterm
day,
test,
Miss. So in this
after you
recording,
submit
I'm
your
going to
answer,
present
after you submit your
and
Google form,
also
you can see your mark for objective directly. They will return your mark for objective only. Okay, so this one, as you can see, I highlighted few things already. Actually, this one is for my own reading. So, okay, part A, the objective one, objective question. Okay, in data sampling, empty, blank, happens when the collected sample does not represent the true population. Okay, first, we need to know what is sampling. Sampling is a group of sample that we take from a people or object. Okay, group group of sample. So that one is sampling. Okay, so happens when the collected does not represent. The keyword here I highlighted here is does not represent the true population. Okay, this one is sampling error. Okay, not non-respond error, because non-respond error is the respondent doesn't respond to us, and it will affect our data that we collected. Error in acquisition, this one is not the acquisition, I think. Oh yeah, the acquisition is actually imperfection of measurement. Okay, imperfection of measurement. And then non-sampling error, obviously not this one, so it is sampling error. Okay, so for number one, it is the, I know you feel like, this is, you don't see what's the reason I discuss, because you don't have final for this one, but I still need to discuss the answer with you guys. Okay, so number two, which of the following statement is false? Okay, false. We need to find the false statement here. So cluster sampling has natural group separating your population. Okay, what is cluster sampling? Okay, cluster sampling is a population that we break in, or we put into a smaller group. Okay, it has natural group separating your population. This one is correct statement. And then again, in cluster sampling, the primary sampling is a cluster of population element. Okay, as you can see here, there is a keyword or term here, cluster. Cluster of population element. This one is referring to the cluster sampling. Okay, correct too. And area sample is a cluster sample. Okay, cluster sample and area sample. These two terms is related or are related. Okay, so here the last one, travel cost. Okay, the first term already, travel costs are increased in cluster sampling because the time spent traveling is substantially greater than the time spent interviewing. This is not necessary. I mean, like, not necessary. The travel cost will be increased. Okay, due to the time spent traveling is greater than the time spent uh interviewing. Okay, so this one is wrong. The first term already here, travel cost. Okay, this one is the wrong or the false statement. And then the third one, sampling. That's mean, again, like I said, sampling is a group of sample from people or object. Okay, first, reduce the cost of the study. Yes, it will reduce the cost of study because we will only study a group, a part of the whole group. Okay, so this one is correct. And then reduce the labor requirement of an interview study. Okay, so labor area here is actually referring to the frequency of particular household that will appear. Okay, so reduce the labor requirement for an interview study. Correct. Interview, I think you know what is interview study. And then that one is correct. So C, gather important information in a short period of time. Yes, correct too. This one is um almost the same with the first one. I mean 3A here, because we only study a group or a part from the whole group. Okay, so the third one is correct too. So it is all of the above. Okay, so number 4, a researcher who wants to study graduate student in his university marketing program, which has 60 male and 40 female, and randomly selected 18 male and 12 female to be interviewed from this list is using a N. So N is referred to what? Okay, here we have convenient, sample, stratified, and cluster sampling. Okay, this one I think I remember. This one is in our lecture note. Okay, regarding the stratified sample. Okay, you can see in our lecture note what is stratified sample, random sample. Okay, this one. For this question, you need to know what is the definition actually for each of these. Each of these term is actually already explained in our lecture note. If I'm not mistaken, within one chapter for all four of this term. And then number 5, which of the following is an example of good research question for a correlational study? Okay, correlational study. So here the keyword is correlational study. So correlational study, we need to see what is, or when we want to measure two variable, okay, or what we want to see what is the relationship between two variable. Okay, here this one, the answer is quite straightforward. B actually, because as you can see, is there a relationship between, okay, student achievement, our first variable, and then homework completion, second variable. We want to see what is the relation between these two variable. Okay, so correlational study. Yeah, correlational study. For FYP, if you have, if you can choose your title, or if you can propose your own title, this one is the common one, correlational study, to see what is the relationship between this variable and this variable. Okay, this type of research, or this type of title of research is quite easy actually. Why is your friend, why are they still not here? So let's proceed to the next question. Okay, number 6, there will be difference in degree of mood elevation seen in depressed clients after receiving either cognitive behavioral and or psychoanalytic therapy. Okay, in this hypothesis, okay, this one is a hypothesis. Mood elevation is the what? So here, if you know how to capture what is dependent or what is independent, okay, then you should know what is mood elevation. Okay, so mood elevation is the thing that we want to observe, is the thing, oh sorry, is the variable that we want to observe, is the variable that we want to see. Okay, degree difference, difference in degree of mood elevation. That means this is the variable that we will keep as dependent variable. That means this variable will be based on this one. The result of mood elevation will be based on this behavioral. I mean this variable. Okay. So like I said, is if you know what is dependent and independent, you should know what is mood elevation. I mean, what is this actually in this hypothesis? Okay. And then question number 7, participant and non-participant observation are two of the methods of direct observation. Which of the following described as non-participant observation? This one, non-participant, it's already highlighted in your question here. Okay, this one, I remember exactly this one I mentioned in our class, non-participant observation. So what is non-participant observation? So non-participant observation, we won't interfere with the process or what the thing that we observe. We will be a passive. Oh yeah, this one actually. So we will see what is non-participant observation. So researcher does not get involved in the activities of the group but remain a passive observer, watching and listening to its activities and drawing conclusion from this one. Okay, so first before we agree with this statement, we need to know what is passive observer. Passive observer, that means we only watch, we doesn't interfere, we doesn't involve with whatever we observe, the activity that we observe. Okay, so the first one, yes, it is correct. Okay, number two, researcher participate. This one is obviously wrong. We doesn't participate. We as the observer, we as the researcher, we doesn't participate. This one is contradict already with the non-participant observation. The keyword is non-participant. Here, researcher participate. This one is totally wrong already. And then three, hot horn effect could be a problem during the observation. This term too is covered and mentioned in our lecture note. I remember this term because I didn't know what's the term at first, but I Googled the term last time. So hard horn effect is actually the change in our behavior when we know people are observing us. Okay, so this one will affect the data that we will get from the observation. So number three is correct. Okay, number four, formulate questions spontaneously during the interview. No, we don't do this in non-participant observation. So the first answer, I mean the correct answer is the first and the third one. Okay, so the answer is C. And then question 8. This one is quite long. So let me check the participant. Oh, one group is here already. Alvin, Daniel, and Konkenshak. Never mind, we proceed with this one first. Okay, so number 8, an experiment is conducted to determine the effect of classical music on the growth rate of flowers. Okay, I think if I'm not mistaken, I read this paper. This is a real research if I'm not mistaken. So the two groups of plants are grown from seed in identical soil types, exposed to identical light condition and given the same nutrient. Group A is in a quiet atmosphere. The plants in Group B provided with the same atmosphere, except the classical music is played for 12 hours daily in this area. Okay, for Group B. So the scientists measure the plant in both group each day and records the data. So in experimental design, Group A is what? So what is Group A? So what from the question here, let me summarize for you guys. What is the difference? So from the statement of this question here, it is that the difference is Group A is in quiet atmosphere, but Group B, they have this musical, classical musical. Okay, so what is Group A here? This one is question number 8. Eight, eight, eight. Okay, this one, Group A. Group A is our object, is our participant in this research. Okay, A, experimental group. Both are experimental group, Group A and as well as Group B. They are both experimental group. Okay, not only Group A here. And then B, control group. Okay, so what is control group? So control group is when we do a research or when we do an experiment, control group is like a group or object or our subject in our research that doesn't get the experimental treatment. Yeah, experimental treatment. So our experimental treatment here in this question, this is this classical music. Okay, I repeat the term is so hard to pronounce. Experimental treatment. Okay, experimental treatment. So the experimental treatment here in this research is classical music. Okay, so group A didn't receive this classical music. Okay, I already highlighted here. As you can see here, group A is in quiet atmosphere. Quiet atmosphere. Okay, so it is a control group. So I repeat, control group is our subject participant that doesn't receive the experimental treatment. Okay, so the answer for question 8 is B. Next, question number 9. Okay, which is not a main function of focus group. Okay, focus group in our research. So first we need to know what is focus group. Focus group is when we do our research, when for example, when we want to interview a group of people, we only interview a small group from that whole, yeah, from that whole community. Okay, so in this focus group we only focus on the, or involve only a small group that have the same or similar, usually it is a demographical, they are similar in demographically. Okay, for example, they are staying at one place, maybe it's not they are staying in one place, but they're staying in one area. Okay, so we only have a small group of those people. Okay, that one is focus group. Okay, not, again, not a main function. So first, generating insight into previously misunderstood topic. Yes, we can get this one from our focus group, because this focus group will represent like the whole group. And then in-depth information gathering on one participant. The keyword here is already this one participant. Okay. In focus group, when we're doing research in focus group, we doesn't really specifically focus on one participant. Yeah, from one to one participant. Okay, we need to do as a group. If we want to interview, we will interview them as a whole group. It's usually it is a smaller group. Okay, this one in-depth information. In-depth here is very detailed. It's very specific. Okay, in-depth information gathering on one participant. For example, I ask one person from one area, and I ask them in-depth information, a very detailed information. This one is already contradict with focus group here. And then we have this supporting statement here, one participant. This is wrong already. So the answer is B. Okay. Then we have let's proceed to number 10. Which of the following statement about qualitative would be considered false? The false statement of qualitative research. Okay. First, it allows the researcher to answer different type of question than quantitative research does. This is correct. Okay, as you can see, false. I mean, this statement here is correct. Okay. Qualitative will more focus on the different type of question than quantitative research. Okay, so this one is correct. And then second, common qualitative method include experiment and survey with close-ended. The keyword here is close-ended question. This one is already wrong. Okay, so the answer, which is the fourth statement, is statement B. Okay. So next, number 11. What is the most frequently used for measure of relationship? This one is, you need to know what is each of these actually. But this one, for measure the relationship between, actually measure the relationship between the variable. Okay, measure the relationship between our variable in the research. So it is a Pearson correlation coefficient. Okay. And then next, which of the following is an example of a close-ended interview? So we know that we can do a open or close-ended interview. That means when we do close-ended interview, we will have a specific answer. It's like yes or no. Oh, I already have it here. Okay. So for example, why did you vote for Gerald Ford? This is too general. We can receive many different response. Okay, many different reason for this one. So did you vote for Gerald Ford? The answer can be only yes or no. So we already give the option to the user. So this one is close-ended. Okay, so in your FYP next, try to avoid too many open-ended question. Okay, so next, multiple regression analysis allow the simultaneous investigation of the effect of empty independent variables, empty and dependent variables. This one, the lecture note or the point or this question, the definition of this question. First, it is in our practical lecture note. I don't remember in which practical lecture note, but I remember I explained this part, practical. Okay, so if you don't know, maybe last time you can Google the term multiple regression analysis. So it is two or more IV on one dependent variable. Okay, this one is a straight definition or straight concept of multiple regression. Okay, so two or more IV on 1 dV. So this one is the definition actually for multiple regression. So multiple regression is an extension of simpler linear regression. It is used when we want to predict the value of a variable based on the value of two or more other variable. Okay, but in our lecture note, it is mentioned here, independent variable. Then, number 14. Okay, refer to the null hypothesis. There is no relationship between return in feature and service quality. Okay, null hypothesis. We have a null hypothesis here. No relationship between our variable. However, mm, we have three variable. Service quality, food quality, and food presentation. Okay, so this one is again the multiple regression. Okay, two or more independent variable and one dependent variable. Okay, so I highlighted this one because this one is the variable that we want to see. Return in future. Okay, so this return in future is our dependent variable. So return in future will be based on this, and this variable, two or more variable. Okay, so it is obviously a multiple regression. And then number 15, if a researcher asks the question, is there a difference between men and women on the average amount money in the bill faults, the appropriate statistical test would be t-test. Okay, so what is t-test? T-test is actually when we want to see a significant difference between two groups. Here it is already mentioned, men and women. So the two group is men and women. Okay, so it is a t-test of men. Okay, so question number 6, the appropriate bivariate analysis when the data are nominal scale, the sample size for each group is greater than 3, the true group is what? So first, bivariate analysis here is actually the simple form of qualitative analysis. Bivariate, I think this is my first time too. So it will involve the analysis of two variable. Okay, yeah, two group, two variable. So it is a chi-square test. Okay, the definition of chi-square test, you can look at our lecture note again. So this one, the f-test is frequently used in conjunction with what? If I'm not mistaken, this one, last time when I answered this form, this question, if I'm not mistaken, this one is, you can Google this one if I'm not mistaken. Is it correct? I think, yeah, this is the question that I managed to Google. It is analysis of variance. Okay, the f-test is usually work together with ANOVA, if I'm not mistaken, this one. Analysis of variance, ANOVA, yeah, ANOVA. Analysis of variance. Okay, and then next, a bank conduct a t-test. Again, t-test to see the difference between two group here, again like the question number 15 just now, female and male. A key question to be answered is how long has the been. This one is not related at all for A. Second, is the difference between the means of male and female employees statistically significant? Okay, t-test. T-test is to see the difference between two group, which is male and female. So this one, we want to see what is the difference of the means between male and female. Okay, and then question number 19, all of the following are step involve calculating the chi-square. Okay, chi-square also mentioned in our lecture note. Statistic, accept. Okay, accept, formulate the null hypothesis. Yes, determine the appropriate significance. Yes, calculate. Obviously, we need to find the chi-square value, but it doesn't calculate the sample mean. Okay, and then question number 20, which of the following statement about descriptive analysis is false? So what is descriptive? It is like descriptive is like we show the summarize. We show the summarized data, the summary of our data. Okay, so this one is descriptive analysis, but the wrong statement. So for most projects, statistical analysis begin by data cleaning and data cleaning. This one is correct. and data transformation to reduce the raw data into summary format. The keyword here again, summary. Okay, this one is correct. And then second, tabulation refers to the orderly arrangement of data in table in row and column format. Tabulation, yes, correct. Arrangement of data, this one is correct. And then C, analyzing results by group or categories is the technique of tabulation. Not necessary this one. Okay, analyzing results by group or categories is the technique of tabulation. No, this one not. It's not necessary. This one is wrong. Analyze result by group or category. This one is wrong. Okay, so the answer is C. Okay, so that one is for your objective part. You have 20 question. Okay, so for objective question, is there any question?
No.
Wang Ziseng is still not here. Never mind, we proceed with part B. Okay, this one you have an article. Article. So answer the following by this article: prevalence of internet addiction and associated factor among female student in this university. Okay, so what is the rationale or what is the research gap? This one I analyze each question from each of you. So what is the rationale of research gap? Why they conduct the research in the first place? Okay, I already mentioned what's research gap. That means why we conduct the research in the first place. There must be something that we need to tackle or we need to fail. So here you need to search the you need to read the article. Okay, so the research gap you can find here is intro part. Intro is my introduction. Okay, this one is your gap of your research. Okay, internet addiction is an increasing problem. Okay, internet addiction is an increasing problem among university students all over the world. So in research, when we want to say or when we want to support our statement, in addition, no study about internet addiction could be traced among university student in this university. Okay, for your FYP, um, it is very important. Sometimes if we want to justify our statement, we need to come out with a statement. It's not what I mentioned just now. Support statement. Okay, so in your FYP, if you think that your point is important or you think that your point is crucial, you need to have a support statement. Support statement is, for example, okay, you already have this one point. For example, internet addiction is an increasing problem among university students all over the world. So this one is your point. This one is your main point. Then since you want to highlight this main point, you need to have your support statement. Support statement, any statement or any research that can support, backup. It's not backup, like support your first statement here. Okay, in addition, here I know this is a support statement. Okay, so this one is your research gap. I think for this question number one, right? Question number one, almost all of you get full mark for this one. Yeah, I think, yes, almost all of you get full mark. Okay, research gap. Because I remember this one released, I think one day before your midterm last time. So I believe you guys have had some discussion before the exam, before the test day. So next, identify the research objective, the RO of the study. This one is so obvious mentioned. It is obviously mentioned in our abstract. Abstract. Here, I already highlighted here. The objective of this present who were to stress what to assess the prevalence of internet addiction, okay, of this university. So for this one too, I think all of you get full mark. This one is so obvious in your objective. Yeah, yes, correct. All of you get full mark for the objective. And then question number 3. By referring by by referring to the questionnaire design study, so at section 2.5 instrument, answer the following question. Okay, this one I can tell, this one for this part none of you get full mark. Why? The full mark is 4. None of you get full mark. Okay, most of you, you answer this one as a factor. This whole thing you mention as a factor. Okay, and then, okay, your independent variable is a factor. That is one thing. And then your dependent variable is correct. Internet addiction. That means internet addiction will be best, will be affected. The factor will be affected this dependent variable, which is the internet addiction. I can see here for yeah, for independent variable, none of you get full mark for this because you mentioned as one factor. Yes, correct. None of you get full mark here. I can see it from my analysis of question here. None of you get full mark. Okay, as you can see, we have a remarks here. This remarks is not okay because we had like a discussion meeting after the midterm. I think 1 or 2 days after your midterm last time. So they already, I think the CC, okay, they put remarks here. So if social demographic is given as the IV, 1 mark only. So most of you for this question, 4 marks, right? For full marks, you only get 1.5 out of 4 because you need to start one by one of this. Okay, if it is they don't put remarks on this, I will accept your answer. However, based on the discussion, they already highlighted this one. This one is highlighted by the CC. Yeah. Okay. So I think you guys know already independent and dependent variable. Oh, for your I have a good suggestion for you guys for your FYP. If you again, if you can propose your own title, try to make a good title. What I mean by good title is even from your title, from your research title, you can know what is your dependent and independent variable already. If I can mention one group last week, I think it's Kelvin group, Kelvin, Fervinson, and who's that one student? I forgot. Kelvin, Fervinson, and Nathan, if I'm not mistaken. Wait, give me 1 second. I need to find. Oh, Nathan. Yeah, Nathan, Kelvin, and Fervinson. Actually, they have a good title because you can see directly, even though it's quite simple, but you can see the dependent and independent variable from the title. Yes, the first group last week. So for your FYP, try to make something like that. Try to come up if you can propose a title. Propose, that's mean the idea is from you. If you are proposed, that's mean you are given the title and you need to do the research. Okay, in research we have that two things. First, you are proposed or you propose your own title. Okay, so now let's continue this part. So remark. Okay. Second is classify the variables stated in the questionnaire as nominal, ordinal, interval, ratio, and as discrete continuous. For this one, the full mark is 4. Question number 3. 3, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3, 2. I think the got student got full mark for this one. 3, 2, 3, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3. Oh, got one student got full mark for this one. Celine. Celine is Chin, right? Yeah, I think it's Celine. Yeah. So, however, this one classify the variable stated. So, what is the variable? Okay. So, for this kind of question, I receive a few form of answer. Okay. Some of you, you know already what is your variable. Okay, your variable up there you have two variable which is dependent and independent variable. So from these two variable you need to know what is the data type. It's not the data type. What is the type? Okay. So there are a few of you who separated this part correctly. However, if you, because most of you, it's not most, but many of you, most of many, yeah, many of you, you list out one by one. Okay. For example, H, what is the data type of college, educational, that one I will receive your answer correctly. Okay. So you need to know first what is your variable. You need to get your variable correctly for this one first. Then only you manage to answer this one. Okay. But for this one, if I see correct answer too, I will accept. Even though you didn't, mm, it's not you didn't answer correctly, but if I see one point, I will accept the answer. Okay. So classify the variable stated. Like I said, you need to know what is the variable. Okay. And then this one is data type. I know this one is confusing. I'm confused too. Okay. Regarding nominal, ordinal, audible, or ratio. Google. Okay. And then next, 3. A chi-square test was performed to the data collected using the questionnaire. They are using questionnaire. Yes, that's correct. So write for null hypothesis. Okay. Null hypothesis. What is null hypothesis? I won't explain each of these hypotheses here. I will just recap with you guys what is null hypothesis. Null hypothesis is in, you guys know, in our research, in the research we have variable. So we need to see what is the relationship between the variable. However, null hypothesis is we state there is no relationship, no significant. Okay, the term is not necessary based on this term, no significant relationship, no. But if you state your variable, for example, your variable is H and internet addiction, if you see something that you explain that is no relationship between these two, that is null hypothesis already. That is correct. So for this question, hmm I think only one student, the three, right? mm, 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 mm. Where's the name of this student? It's missing. I think only, yeah, only one student. I mean, most of you get this answer correctly. Okay, you know what is null hypothesis. I think this one is, if you did your assignment or if you really, yeah, I have no comment on that part. But null hypothesis, that means we don't have the relationship. The variable doesn't have the relationship. Okay, no significant, no significant. But your statement doesn't need to be exactly like this one. However, most of you get full mark, 1 mark for each. Okay. Under what circumstances a chi-square test would be appropriate? Okay. This one, the keyword is the variable. Okay. Dependent and IV. Independent variable must be nominal or categorical variable. For this class, I don't see exact answer like this one. However, there are a few of you answer this correctly. Okay. The variable, both variable are categorical variable. Okay. So this one too, many of you get answer correct, but not the exact statement from here. But yeah, as long as you mention the IV or you mention the variables, both and categorical variables, it is correct already. And then by referring question number 4, this is our parameter. I think I remember I explained what is parameter. It's like scope of our study. Okay, so first, type of respondent. This one you can get a straight answer from your article. If you read the whole article, this one will be piece of cake to you guys. Okay, type of respondent. Who are the respondent? It is a female student in this university. Okay, data collection, interview, and questionnaire. Some of you even returned to me with the, I think, full or perfect answer. I don't remember who, but perfect answer, type of questionnaire, type of, yeah, type of questionnaire. Okay, this one IV and questionnaire, and then geographic scope. Okay, Saudi Arabia, and then sample size. Most of you for this part you mentioned 368 student. Okay, if you mention 368 student, it is, this one is question number 4, right? Question number 4. Question number 4. Oh, question number 4. Okay. So you need to mention 370 student, not 368 student, because actually the total number is 370. Okay. How I know it's 370? It is actually from this data. The number here is referring to the number of our participant. Okay. Here, 370. It's already highlighted here. I'm not sure if you can see, but you can check back in your article. It's 370 actually, not 360.
This 368 from where?
Huh?
368 from where?
368.
Yeah.
I saw it somewhere. This
Oh, that one.
no,
Okay.
I think other than this one, I remember I read this article. I saw it somewhere in, forgot already. Other than this one, it is already mentioned too. I don't remember, but I see some statement other than this one. Okay. However, the answer is 370. Actually, let me share something with you guys. If you are, but again, I'm not encouraging you to skip your article. If in the future you have many things to read from your article, okay, if you want to analyze the paper, if you, I'm not telling you to skip. You need to read, of course, but under certain circumstances, maybe if you don't want to read them, you can go to the data. Actually, it's not only for this article, other article as well. If you want to analyze them, what you can do is you can go to the table, oh sorry, to the data that they represent, because from the data that they represent you can get many information. Okay, but again, you need to read your article. Okay, so it is 370 actually. So 370 for 1 mark. In your opinion, do you think respondent in this study could adequately represent population? Justify your answer. Yes, I still receive, I'm sorry, however, I still receive some unnecessary or unrelevant answer for this one. Why? Because I know this is opinion, but you need to relate back with this question, with this article. Okay, if your answer is too general, then that is wrong. Okay, here we are studying female student. That is wrong if you talk or explain too far from this scope of title. Okay, so this one is opinion, question number 5. So this one is your opinion too. It's not opinion. I believe this one, I remember. I read that part. Hmm, this one. Okay. Here, conclusion and recommendation. Recommendation is like for future work, of course, future research. So here, sorry. So here, future study related factor. Okay, but I received few answer which I think I will accept. So most of you for this one, I think all of you, yeah, I received your answer for this one. I mean, I accept. Sorry, I mean all of you, I accept your answer. Is it correct what I said? Let me check my mark again. Yes, correct. I think for this one, I accept all of your answer. Full. Yeah, all of you. So this one, it's not necessary you can get from this one actually, because as you can see here, the article, sorry, the conclusion and recommendation part, they only have this short, what is this, paragraph here. So for this one, I believe, I don't remember the exact answer of you guys, but I have your mark here, so I see all of you, I accept your answer. So that's the end of your um of your midterm. Oh, before I move on from this one, actually, for gap, I mean for future recommendation for research gap, actually, if you think that maybe for your FYP, if you think that one research article or one research paper, for example this one, so if you think that that article can improve other area than mentioned here, you can do so. Your recommendation, I mean the research that you want to do is not necessary based on this, it's not necessary from the recommendation here by this researcher. Okay, you can come up with other improvement that you can done on this article. Okay, not necessarily based on this one. That's why, like I said, I accept all of your answer. Okay, so yeah, that's the end of our, no, of your midterm. Okay, so that's the end of your midterm. Yeah, midterm. Oh, Wang Zisheng is finally here. So now I will stop presenting. So for your midterm test, is there any question? No, right? So let's move on to Wang Zisheng. No L. Let me check your. Give me 1 second. Oh yeah, I want to, guys. I want to ask you guys. I'm not joking here. Do you know what is it mean by total? What is total? I want to ask. Ferry Vincent, what is total, Ferry Vincent? Yes, Ferry Vincent is here. Yeah, Ferry Vincent, what is it mean by total? Total, yeah, total. TOTAL. It's not related to research, but I want to ask you what is total. Mm, yeah. What is total? Basic, right? The definition. However, Ferry Vincent, you remember you have an evaluation form. In that evaluation form, you need to assess your friend. In that form, it is a very easy task actually. You need to evaluate your friend. And then at the bottom row, you need to give the total. I think it's not only you, but I remember since you're the first one, hmm. Oh yeah, got total. Yeah, it's total actually. You know what you do? You know what you did right in your assessment. Like it's another job for me to calculate for you, but it's okay. For next semester, if I am your lecturer, hmm, I will deduct your mark, Fair Vincent. Oh, by the way, I want to ask you guys, what is the, because I haven't checked this one, what is the minimum mark for A? What is the minimum mark for A? I know. The, because actually, human. No L. Who else is one? Daniel, right? Daniel. Daniel. Malaysian perception. Okay. Oh, 75? 75. Okay then. Actually, honestly, those who already presented last week, we have 3 group. Let me check again. because I wrote down everything during your presentation. Last week, 10 of September. Last week, Nathan, Kelvin Shark, Pharaoh Vincent, Jonathan, Jeremiah Huang, Rachel, Celine. Who is this? Ivan. Yeah. Actually, I already have your mark for your last presentation. I mean, for this assignment. And I have your. Never mind. I think I have your total grade too. So, oh, 75 is. Oh, 70. Okay, then. So, okay, thank you, Noel. So, who wants to present first for today? I think Noel group should go first. Noel, Wang Zisheng, and Fa. Can you group? Can you go first, Noel? Today is 17. So your no, let me check first. Noel is a relationship between lockdown measure on the daily number of COVID-19 in Malaysia from January 2020 to June 2021, right? Ah, okay then. Already read this paper. So you can start. Solomon is Wong Zisheng, right? He is already here, right? Is she? He's. Oh. Eh? Hmm?
Hello. So our group will be presenting the relationship between lockdown measure and the daily number of COVID-19 cases in Malaysia from January 2020 to June 2021. So now I will hand over to Solomon.
Good morning, Miss. Now I will be presenting the introduction for our research. So first, coronavirus is also coronavirus disease 2019 is a highly contagious disease caused by severe acute respiratory syndrome coronavirus 2, also known as SARS-CoV-2. The first known case was first identified in Wuhan, China in December 2019, and soon after that, an outbreak of COVID-19 begins in Wuhan, and which eventually spread to its nearby city. So after the outbreak, the government of China imposed a lockdown in Wuhan and other nearby city to contain the spread of the virus. But then the lockdown failed to contain the outbreak. The outbreak spread to other part of the China, and which leads to the ongoing pandemic that we have experienced right now. And by 11th of March 2020, the WHO officially declared the COVID-19 outbreak as a pandemic. The first case of COVID-19 infection were confirmed in Malaysia among a group of travelers from China in Johor via Singapore on 25 January of 2020. Since then, the infection cases keep increasing with no sign of slowing down. And in early March of 2020, Malaysia experienced a huge surge of COVID-19 cases. And in response to that, the government imposed a nationwide lockdown, also known as the MCO, and which came into effect on 18 March of 2020. The MCO is a lockdown measure implemented by the federal government of Malaysia to curb the spread of COVID-19 within the country. The lockdown measure include the restrictions of movement, assembly, international travel, mandate the closure of business, industry, government, and education institution. The MCO was extended and relaxed to different phases between 2020 and 2021, including the CMCO, RMCO, and also depending on the number of daily cases and active cases of COVID-19. And in addition to that, a few specific locations were subject to a stricter lockdown known as EMCO due to the high daily number of COVID-19 cases within the area. And in the first 3 quarters of 2020, after the first lockdown was implemented, the daily number of COVID-19 cases is still low and is still manageable, and the outbreak seems to be under control. And at one point, Malaysia was praised by the international community for the handling of COVID-19 pandemic. And moreover, the lockdown measure also relaxed as the daily number of cases drops. However, in the last quarter of 2020, the daily number of infections starting to rise exponentially. And by the first quarter of 2021, a more stringent lockdown was implemented. And towards the end of first quarter of 2020, the number of COVID-19 cases or infections started to experience a slight decrease, and the government relaxed the lockdown for a bit. But despite the optimistic outlook in the first quarter of 2020, the daily number of COVID-19 cases started to spike exponentially in the second quarter, which forced the government to impose a total lockdown. When comparing to the total accumulated number of COVID-19 confirmed cases in the entire year of 2020, and with only the first 2 quarters of 2021, it is obvious that something went wrong with the effort of fighting against the pandemic in Malaysia during the first 2 quarters of 2021. The total number of COVID-19 cases in the first 2 quarters of 2021 is approximately 6 times higher than the total number of COVID-19 cases for the entire year of 2020. And therefore, even though most lockdown measures implemented in 2021 are far stricter than those in 2020, the lockdown measure implemented in 2021 achieved significantly less in containing the virus outbreak than those more lenient lockdown measure implemented in 2020. And as a result, this leads to a question: are the lockdown measures implemented in Malaysia effective in containing the spread of the virus and keeping the number of daily infection cases law. Now we'll be presenting the problem statement. So the government Malaysia has implemented a series of lockdown between March 2020 and June 2021, and this lockdown measure, they all have a common goal, which is contain the outbreak of the COVID-19 and keep the daily number of COVID-19 cases low. But the result produced by this lockdown is somewhat unsatisfactory. And despite the fact that lockdown measures implemented in 2021 are much more stricter than those in 2020, the total cases of infection in 2021 are much more higher when compared to 2020. And in addition, some states have a much higher number of new COVID-19 cases than the other state. So some experts suggest that the reason for this extremely high number of cases in 2021 is that the politician did not make decision based on science. They did not follow the medical professional. On the other hand, the government blamed the surge in the state on immigrant crossing illegally from Indonesia, Borneo, and southern Philippines. However, not much discussion has been really made on whether the lockdown measures implemented directly correlated to the surge in daily number of COVID-19 cases or are caused by other factors. And as a result, this will create doubts within the citizen of whether the lockdown measures are able to fulfill what they are supposed to, which is to keep the infection cases low. And as the daily number of COVID-19 cases in Malaysia remains high, more lockdown measures are expected to be implemented in the future. So it is very crucial to understand whether the lockdown measures are able to achieve what they are supposed to, which is to keep the daily number of COVID-19 cases low. There's a research done by Shah et al. 2020 regarding the actions taken by Malaysia to contain the virus outbreak. However, it did not focus on the result of the actions or lockdown measures. Another similar research was done by Salim et al. 2020 to forecast the impact of lockdown measure on infection dynamic, but still it only used the data from the first 2 quarters of 2020 and its forecast only until May 2020, which does not reflect the true impact of the implemented lockdown measure and its correlation to the daily number of COVID-19 cases. In the end, there is a lack of research on the relationship between the lockdown measure and the daily number of COVID-19 cases.
So next will be our research objective, research question, and also hypothesis and assumption. So we have three research objective in our research meta assignment. So the first objective is to understand how different lockdown measure can affect the daily number of new COVID-19 cases in Malaysia. And the second one is to determine whether there is a relationship between the wealth of the state and the number of daily cases, of the daily new COVID-19 cases. So the next one is to determine whether there is a relationship between the population of different states and the number of daily new COVID-19 cases. So the next one is research question. We have also three research question for our research method assignment. So the first question is, how does the different lockdown measure affect the daily number of new COVID-19 cases in Malaysia? And the second one is, how does the wealth of different states affect their daily number of new COVID-19 cases? And the third one is, how can the population in different states affect their daily number of new COVID-19 cases? And the next one is hypothesis. We have also three hypotheses for our group. So the first hypothesis is that there is no relationship between the strictness of the lockdown measure and the daily number of COVID-19 cases. And the alternative for hypothesis one, which is the other way around, is that the stricter the lockdown measure, the lesser the daily number of COVID-19 cases. So for the second hypothesis, there is no relationship between the wealth of the state and its daily number of COVID-19 cases. And the alternate hypothesis for uh, second hypothesis is that there is a positive correlation between the wealth of the state and its daily number of COVID-19 cases. And the last hypothesis is that there is no relationship between the population of the states and the daily number of COVID-19 cases. And the alternate, which is the other way around, is that the more populous a state is, the higher the total number of COVID-19 cases are. So the next one is the assumption. So for our assumption, the lockdown measures implemented in all states share the same stringency index. So what is really a stringency index? So stringency index is a measurement on how strict a country is to stop the spreading of the virus. It is calculated by 9 different metrics, which are school closures, workplace closures, cancellation of public events, restriction on public gatherings, closures of public transport, stay-at-home requirements, public information campaigns, restriction on internet movements, and international travel controls. So the index of any given day is calculated as the mean score of the 9 metrics, each taking a value from 0 to 100. So which means higher score indicates a stricter response. And yeah. So the next part is literature review. So for the COVID-19, we already know what is really a COVID-19. So if what if we don't actually know whether we have the COVID-19? So there are several symptoms which we can found in what will happen in our body, which is the fever. We may get dry cough, fatigue, loss of taste or smell, sour throat, or even headache. So if we were tested positive, the symptoms will become worse, which is the shortness of breath, pressure in the chest, and also recurring fever. So next one is going to be the lockdown measure. So for the first lockdown measure, which is the MCO 1.0, it is conducted from January 2020 to June 2021. So Malaysian government had implemented 6 different level of movement control order to control the spread of COVID-19 among Malaysian. So for MCO 1.0, what is really the restriction is that the national wild travels is restricted, and also religious, sports, recreational, social or cultural gatherings is also prohibited. So the facts of the MCO 1.0 is that uh, it actually end earlier on 3rd of May, which it originally should end in 12th of May. And according to the Prime Minister, Muhyiddin Yassin, the country had lost 63 billion. So if the lockdown continue to implemented, the loss will projected to nearly become 100 billion. So the next one is the CMCO, 4 point, yeah. So the next one is a CMCO, which is conducted from March 4 to 7 June of 2020. So what is really allowed during this CMCO is that one person is allowed to travel to work or buying any essential items. So the next one is RMCO, which is the RMCO 1.0. So what is really allowed during this period is that travel from one place to another is allowed, and house visits and gathering for Hari Raya, Puasa, Kaamatan, and Gawai Dayak celebration is also allowed. And furthermore, funeral attendance were opened and kept at less than 20 people. So the next one is the CMCO in Sabah. So what is really causing the CMCO in Sabah is that the state election had caused a dramatic spike of COVID-19 cases in Sabah. So what is really the factor that the CMCO is implemented in Sabah is that during the Sabah election, most people had no follow the SOP, which means no social distancing. They are not wearing masks properly, and they are also crowded in vote center. And the next one is the RMCO, which is conducted for the whole Malaysia. So it is actually extended until 31 March, 31 of March 2021. So movement within PKPB areas to another PKPB areas and PKPB areas is also allowed. And furthermore, face-to-face meetings of government and private agencies in office, hotels, convention centers are allowed with physical distancing and wearing face masks. So the next one is the MCO, IMCO, CMCO, and FMCO. All of them conducted from April 1 to 31 of June 2021 in different states in Malaysia. So during April, 12th of April, it was announced that uh, CMCO in Selangor, Kuala Lumpur, Johor, Penang, and Kelantan was extended to 28th of April. So next is CMCO in Sarawak, also extended to 26th of April, and IMCO in Kedah, Melaka, Negeri Sembilan, Pahang, Perak, Perlis, Sabah, Terengganu, Federation Territories of Putrajaya, and Labuan is also extended to 21 of April. So during 14th of April 2021, it was announced that MCO in Kelantan, uh, in Sarawak, there is 7 district in Kelantan, which is Kota Baru, Pasir Mas, Pasir Putih, Bachok, Machang, Tumpat, and Tanah Merah, and also 5 districts in Sarawak, which is Kuching, Bintulu, Miri, Sibu, and Meradung. Uh, the MCO is extended, is conducted from 16th of April to 29th of April during 2021. And the next one is the MCO is next one is 27th of April 2021. It was announced that MCO in Kelantan is extended to May 17th of May, and also CMCO in Sabah and Sarawak also extended to 17th of May. And lastly, CMCO in Selangor, Kuala Lumpur, Johor, and Penang also extended to 17th of May. So the next one is 30th of April 2021. It was announced that MCO in Kedah, there is 5 districts in Kedah, which is the Kota Setar, Kuala Muda, Bandar Baharu, Baling, and Kulim. Is extended. MCO is extended from 1st of May to 14th of May 2021. So the next is MCO in Selangor, which is the 6 districts which are the Hulu Langat, Petaling, Gombak, Klang, Kuala Langat, and Sepang. Is conducted MCO from 6th of May to 17th of May 2021. So the next is MCO in Johor, Perak, Terengganu from 7th May to 20th of May. So next is 10th of May. It was announced that MCO throughout the whole Malaysia is conducted from 12th of May to 7th of June, and total lockdown is also conducted from 1st June to 14th of June, and FMCO is also extended indefinitely until further notice. So the next, this is cases patterns, a graph that shows the number of COVID-19 cases patterns. So you can really notice that the numbers start to show a dramatic rise in September 2020 due to Sabah 2020 state election in September. So according to Malaysian Prime Minister Tan Sri Muhyiddin Yassin, he stated that the Election Commission had set certain standard operating procedures, the SOP, to ensure the COVID-19 infection would not spread further due to the election campaign. But unfortunately, some SOPs were not adhered to. The PM said that he could see non-compliance with the SOPs when he was campaigning in the Sabah state election, where many people failed to practice physical distancing and were at crowded places. Although almost all of them were wearing a face mask. So he also said that those infected with COVID-19 were already in Sabah at the time. Many of the cases originated from illegal immigrants from neighboring countries and spread the virus to other detainees at the detention center. So the next is the GDP. So GDP is used to measure the wealth of a state. So GDP is also defined as the total monetary or market value of all the final goods and services produced in a specific period now. So in addition, the GDP function as a comprehensive scorecard of a given country's or state's economy health now. So the next is the population of the states in Malaysia of year 2020. So in our research, the total population of the different state is used. The population is defined as the whole number of people or inhabitants in a country or a region. So for the conclusion, for literature review, the Malaysian government has implemented different lockdown measures such as MCO, IMCO, CMCO, FMCO, and EMCO. This lockdown measure aim to reduce the daily number of COVID-19 cases in Malaysia. Next, the stringency index collected is from January 2020 to June 2021 and will be used to measure the strictness of these lockdown measures in this research. In addition, the GDP of the states in Malaysia will be used also to measure the wealth of the states. And finally, the population of each state in Malaysia will be used in this research to determine the state's population. So next, I will hand over to Noel.
So thank you, Lim. Now I will be presenting from 5 to 12. So I will start with the research methodology. So the approach type that we use is a quantitative approach, where we use only mathematical data to calculate the result. And the analysis tools that we use is GNU PSPP, which is the free alternative of uh, IBM SPSS. And to test three of our hypotheses, we use the same method, which is the bivariate Pearson correlation coefficient. So we go to the data collection. So there are 6 data that we have collected online from 4 different websites. So for daily number of COVID-19 cases and daily stringency index, we got it from our work in data. So for GDP value by states as of 2020, we get it from Department of Statistics. And for accumulated COVID-19 case, for 31st December 2020 and 30 June 2021, we get it from the COVID-19 Info Center by Ministry of Health, Malaysia. And lastly, for total population by states as of June, we get it from Statista. So the data duration is from 24 January 2020 to 30 June 2021. So uh, to test the first hypothesis, we use these variables, which is daily number of COVID-19 case and stringency index. And if we want to test our second hypothesis, we use the GDP value and also the accumulated COVID-19 case. And lastly, if you want to test the third hypothesis, we use the total population and also the accumulated COVID-19 case. So we go to the overall finding. So based on our the COVID-19 case as of 24 January 2020 to 30 June 2021. So the lowest case throughout the duration is 0, and the highest is 9,020 cases. And the average cases throughout the duration is 1,435.07. And the accumulated COVID-19 cases is 751,971. So we go to the research finding for hypothesis 1. So to test our hypothesis 1, we set an independent variable as daily number of COVID-19 case, and the dependent variable is daily stringent, daily stringency index. So here is a dataset example. So this is the table that shows the correlation value, which is 0.429. And this is the scatter plot. So here we can see there is a in positive correlation. So the correlation value of 0.429 indicates that there is a moderate positive linear correlation between stringency index and daily COVID-19 cases. So therefore, we reject the alternate hypothesis, which is the stricter the lockdown measure, the lesser the daily number of COVID-19 cases. And so we accept the null hypothesis, which is there is no relationship between these two variables. So we go to the second hypothesis. So the independent variable is the GDP value by states as of 2020, and the dependent variable is accumulated COVID-19 case as of December 2020. So this is the dataset example where we want to find a correlation between GDP and accumulated case. So here we can see the correlation value of 0.62. And this is the scatter plot that we have found. So the correlation value of 0.62 indicates that there is a strong positive linear correlation between GDP value of different states and the total COVID-19 case as of 31st December 2020. So therefore, we reject the null hypothesis and we accept the alternate hypothesis, which is there is a positive correlation between wealth of the state and daily number of COVID-19 cases. So now we go to the hypothesis 3. So the independent variable is the total population of different different states as of 30 June 2021, and the dependent variable is total accumulated COVID-19 case in different states as of 30 June 2021. So this is the dataset example. So here we can see the correlational value is 0.884. And this is the scatter plot between these two variables. And the value of correlational value of 0.884 indicates that there is a strong positive linear correlation between state population and the accumulated COVID-19 cases of 30 June 2021. So and therefore we reject the null hypothesis and accept the alternate hypothesis, which is the more populous a state is, the higher the total number of COVID-19 cases. So we go to the conclusions. So for H1, there is a moderate positive correlation between stringency index and new COVID-19 cases. And for H2, there is a moderately strong positive correlation between GDP value and total COVID-19 cases as of 2020 in different states. And lastly, for H3 is there is a strong positive correlation between total population and accumulated COVID-19 cases in different states as of 30 June 2021. So the significance of the findings is the lockdown measure implemented from this duration, 24 January 2020 to 30 June 2021, has no effect on mitigating the spread of COVID-19 among Malaysian citizens. And secondly, the state with high GDP outputs tend to have the highest total COVID-19 cases. And lastly is the state with higher population tends to have a higher accumulated COVID-19 cases. So what is the limitation of our current study? So the data collected of daily COVID-19 case from 24 January is only from 24 January 2020 and only up to 30th June 2021. So as we know that on 30th June 2021, the virus hasn't stopped yet, so it's still ongoing. So this doesn't represent the whole what result of the the result. Yeah. And the GDP value of different states and the total number of COVID-19 case only represents the year 2020. Actually, we tried to find the data for year 2021 as well, but we didn't. It is still not available online. So instead, we only use the year 2020. And for the COVID-19 accumulated COVID-19 case in different states, only represent the month of June 2021. So we go to the recommendation for further research work. So in further research work, a work can be done to achieve a high GDP output despite the pandemic. So usually during a pandemic, uh, businesses and factories will be closed down to slow down the disease spread. Thus, a research can be done to find the optimal method to carry out the working environment during the pandemic, which can be very beneficial to maintain the economic health of the country despite the pandemic. And secondly, research can be done to determine the ideal standard operating procedure that the Malaysian citizens can implement and practice so that the COVID-19 spread can be slowed down. This research can help to ensure that the lockdown implement is effective in slowing down the spread of diseases. And that is all for our presentation. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And so I think at the backgrounds at Noel, I think they have some discussion. So we should focus to his uh, presentation actually.
Oh,
So
yeah, sorry.
open the floor to next. Okay, open the floor to question. Any question from student? Celine, do you have questions, Celine? Celine, Alvin. Oh, Alvin is next. I have. Okay, Ian, go. Oh, they have a question from Ian. Do you think that lockdown MCO, EMCO, RMCO should continue to be implemented in the near future? Since we discussed from previous lockdown.
I think I can answer that. So from our data we collected from January 2020 until June of 2021, we found that the lockdown measure implemented previously, such as MCO, EMCO, and RMCO, is futile on containing the outbreak. So since the government has already introduced a new measure called FMCO, which means that gradually open up the country and economy based on the number of COVID-19 cases, I think we should follow that one. And that one has been producing promising result, and we didn't include that in our research is because it is after June, which is outside of our research scope. But I think we don't need to continue to implement the MCO, EMCO, and RMCO. We should continue with the current FMCO measure.
Oh, so smooth. Wong answer that question. Okay then. Other question? Jeremiah, do you have question, Jeremiah? Is Jeremiah here? Oh, Jeremiah is not here. Yeah, Jeremiah is not here. Okay then. So no question, right? So I can proceed with my question. So actually, this group, the title here is relationship between the lockdown measure and the daily number of COVID-19 cases in Malaysia from January 2020 to June 2020, 2021. Okay, honestly, this is my personal opinion. My personal opinion, because actually before your presentation, I read the article. I mean, I read your research. There are two group. I think in this class. I mean, sorry. There are two out of five actually. This is my personal opinion. I think it is very interesting because it's in my interest. The first one is the Vincent, Harry Vincent, Nathan, and Kelvin Shark. I said it is interesting to me because they are using the social media, right, and the student. So I think it is something new for me to know that what student prefer now, and then what they use that platform, the purpose or why they're using that platform. Second one is this group. Why I say so? This group is quite interesting too, because actually last time during the consultation, if I'm not mistaken, they show me this. What is this? One thing I wrote it here just now. Stringency index. Okay, they have this website. I didn't know about this thing before, so I learned something new regarding this thing, stringency index, due to this research. So I think it's quite interesting to read their paper actually. However, okay, back to their presentation. So I have comment on overall presentation. Comment, not question. Question is later. So my first comment is, your group actually I can capture many points. However, you write everything, most of your point you already state there in your slide. So it's like you're reading your slide. In your FYP, okay, in your FYP, try to avoid that. Okay, not only to particularly for this group, to all of you. Okay, to all of you in your FYP, try to put everything into your slide, because in slide you just write your main point and then you try to expand based on that main point. Okay, if I can mention, there's one group I think they are very good in presenting their work, which is Jonathan, Jeremiah, and I forgot again the student. Who is the other? Another friend. Jonathan, Jeremiah, and Wong. They have a very good slide and very good presentation. Okay, and then second one regarding this presentation is, even though they don't, I think they mostly just now, they most of the time just now they read from the slide, but I think they have a good flow of presentation. Why I say so? Because if you watch his slide, if you see the slide just now, they have the stat actually. Where is the stat of their presentation? For example, if you they want to go to, I forgot already. If they want to go to LR just now, they highlight, or they like highlight with a box there. So they're going. So they are going to that part, so that we as our audience, we know what, or what are they going to talk about next. Okay, that one is regarding your presentation. Now I have a question. First, Wong. One, two, three, four, five. I have five. First to Wong, because you presented first. So I want to ask your opinion. Wong, how do you think, how critical Malaysia compared to other Asia country like our neighbor country, Indonesia, Philippines,
In terms
Thailand?
of what? In terms of
The seriousness of the number of cases. how do you think our government handle the COVID cases 19? Yeah, how do you think the government of our government Malaysia handle this COVID-19 compared to other countries?
Is it currently or only our research period?
Currently, current situation.
Currently they are pushing the vaccination effort, and although I think the only thing they did well is only the vaccination effort right now, and beyond that they didn't have any much plan, such as how they should help the country's economy to reopen properly. And when comparing to the neighboring country such as Thailand, Philippines, yeah, we did quite well compared to them. Yeah, because we have around, I think more than half of the population is at least got one dose vaccinated or fully vaccinated. And if compared to neighboring countries such as Vietnam, Philippines, and Thailand, we definitely did better. But when comparing to a more advanced neighboring countries such as Singapore, yeah, yeah, they did better than us lah. Yeah, yeah, this is my opinion now when comparing our country lockdown effort with the other country in terms of the measure.
Okay. So just now you mentioned about half of our population here in Malaysia already get at least first dose of vaccine, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, try to Google first. Where did you get that source from your
uh,
statement just now? From your knowledge.
the vaccine covid.government.my. So in here, it actually stated 55% fully vaccinated lah.
So you're Googling, right? It's
Uh,
okay.
I just Google just now. Yeah,
No, it's okay. So, okay, because this one is online, it's okay. But next, it's not only to this group. Actually, this advice to all of you because you are going to have your FIP again. So, in your FIP, whatever you say, right? You need to, for example, lah, pilot study. You step in your, I think there are few group mentioned that you done your pilot study. I believe you know what is pilot study, but for some reason, you I don't think you conduct the pilot study. So first you need to conduct whatever you step in your experiment. That is very crucial. Second, um, whatever you say, you need to have a you need to be, I mean, like you need to be confirm about it. You need to have a source. Okay. So I have an advice to you guys as a student to, if the panel, oh sorry, if the lecturer, which is your committee later, ask you, first, we need to know our committee, our lecturer is way smarter than us. Don't try to oversmart them. I've one tangled in one situation last time. I tried to manipulate my words. At the end of the day, the discussion took like 30 minutes because of one statement only. I didn't know actually, but I don't know. But then yeah, my point is don't try to outsmart them. Okay, so if you are in that situation where you do not know how to answer them, don't try to answer them specifically. Don't give them a specific answer. Try to play safe. Try to give general answer. Okay, if you do not know, you tell them honestly do not know. Okay, because the the committee, your lecturer, your supervisor, they have more experience than us. I mean me, I'm a lecturer too. Yeah. No, I'm not saying that I have more experience than you guys, but yeah, I read more paper and I conduct more research than you guys. Okay, so same goes to your 5P letter. Okay, Wong, that one, good point just now. Next, I have question to Lim, right? Second one just now. Lim here. So Lim, I want to ask you, you are using socio stringency index, right?
Yeah,
I see. So how reliable do you think your sources is?
I think it is quite reliable since we retrieve it from a very legit and trustable website, which is our World in Data, as we stated in the uh, research paper also. I think it's quite accurate also.
So this one is from a website, right? Correct
Yeah,
me.
it's a trustable website.
.org, right? Last time you show me.
Yeah,
Okay then. Okay. Second, I have a question to you, Lim, because there are one research that is, I won't say similar, almost similar to your research here, research title here. So I want to ask you, did you get the idea of this research after you read that paper, or you only found out about that paper after you have this research title?
after we originally think of this title ourselves, and then after that we found that there is actually a similar paper which is already done before, but which I think our research paper, in my opinion, I think so far is the uh, latest one, considered as the latest one, since our research is conducted from the period uh, from January 2020 to June 2021, which so far I didn't quite notice there is other similar period from other researcher, which
Yes.
I consider myself that our research is the latest one.
Actually, it is not your consider, but actually yes, it is one of the letters because I did research too. I did some research too regarding the paper. I mean your research and the other paper. This is one of the, yes, correct. This is one of the letters actually. Okay. So thank you, Lim. Now I have question to Noel. Okay, so Noel, as mentioned just now, you have this almost similar, I won't say similar, almost similar paper, almost similar research with your research here. So what do you think is the novelty of your research? Novelty is your
So the
something different.
novelty is, I think, is that our data is till 30th June 2021, whereas yeah, whereas the other uh, data duration is only, if not mistaken, up until end of 2020. Yeah,
Hmm. Okay.
yeah.
So yeah. So the novelty here that you are saying that you have the same case study, but the period of your research, I mean period, the time, yeah, the time of your
Uh,
research is different, right? With them.
and
Is
next
it?
is we also conduct the relationship between GDP and uh, accumulated COVID-19 case, and also the, the total population of different states, and also the accumulated COVID-19 case. I think that's one of the novelty, if not mistaken.
Oh, okay. Good. Next, I have a question to you, to Noel. So here, correct me if I'm wrong. Just now you mentioned you reject H1, right? You reject your hypothesis one.
Yeah, we reject the alternate hypothesis.
Yes, you
Should
reject the
I?
alternate hypothesis.
Yeah.
Mm. So, why do you think you reject the H1? What is the, maybe what is the factor? Yeah, what is the factor that you guys think, no, that you think you reject the alternate H1?
Should I present it again?
Oh, you already present just now the reason.
Oh, the reason,
Yeah, the
I
reason
think
why you reject it.
reason is like, I think on Link's part, maybe mine only on the numbers only.
Yeah, which one, which one? Pardon what you said just now? H1 you reject, right? The stricter the
This
lockdown
one, right?
measure.
Yeah, we reject the alternate hypothesis. So logically, the stricter the lockdown, the lesser the daily COVID-19 cases, right? But in our finding, it's the opposite. The stricter the lockdown, the higher the cases.
Yeah. So what do you think? What is the reason?
Maybe
Oh,
the
no, 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 no,
the
no. Wait. I asked this wrongly too. I shouldn't ask this. This one is different different research. No, 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 no. I take back my question. This question is not relevant to your research. So I cancel my question just now. Okay, Nael, I cancel my question. I already have my answer in my head. I cancel my question. Okay, so no more question, right, from the student? No. Okay, so thank you to Wong, Noel, and
okay,
Lin.
thank you.
Okay, so before we move to the next group, the group, I have something I want to share with you guys regarding your FYP. So, FYP again. Yeah, because FYP is research, right? So, in FYP, there are this kind of research where we doesn't need to go for interview or where we doesn't need to go for data collection. No, I mean we doesn't go to like the way we collect data is totally from the internet. One of it is this group, what this group already done. There's another, I think this one is one of the easiest for me, in my opinion. One of the easiest research is you review others' paper. That means you doesn't need to go to distribute your questionnaire. You doesn't need to find your participant. You can review others' paper. That means maybe, okay, I give you example. Maybe this group, they are using this period of time. It's not this period of time. They have different timeline with the original paper. It's not original, the other research paper. Okay, so we can do research based on these two paper. We review uh Noel's paper and the other paper. That is one of the easiest research that we can done. But for that kind of research, you need to be very careful because for that research, you need to read the paper in very detail. Okay, that's only a part of my sharing regarding your research for your FYP. Okay, next we have group Tan Sunyap Daniel, Alvin, Konken Shak. So, do you need time to prepare, Alvin? Hey, you guys can hear me, right? Uh, oh, okay, okay, okay. Oh, guys, can we have like 5 minute break and we start back at, it's not 5 minutes, 7 minutes to be exact. We start back at 11:05 a.m. Is that okay? Okay, then we will start back at 11:05. Hi everyone. So can we start?
Hi, Miss. And hi, everyone. Today, we will present our research topic, which is Malaysia perception and trust towards the government in terms of financial and safety in COVID pandemic. Uh, the, this group consists of me, Daniel Tan Sunyap, Shakong Ket, and Elvin Chen Kanseng. So the content within this during this presentation will be abstract, introduction, lecturer review, research methodology, research instrument slash data collection, validity and reliability consideration, sampling, result, and discussion and conclusion. So the abstract, we mainly to study this topic is to study to study by conducting an online questionnaire and distribute it to student and working class worker to know their perception and trust towards the government during the COVID-19 pandemic, which we want to know what's their feeling and feeling, what is their perception within during the COVID-19 perception towards the government towards the government during the COVID-19, which has been affected their lifestyle. And our objective is to identify what is their perception towards the government during the COVID-19 pandemic. So yeah. So the intro, I will present it to Elvin.
Okay, so our title is the Malaysia perception towards the government under the COVID in terms of safety and the financial. So we will start intro for about the pandemic. So it starts from China in the first case, and then it's only slowly spread to other country, including Malaysia. And so the rate have higher after the government have started the MCO rules, like it loosen the MCO rules to open the economy for the country, like they allow the outdoor activities, and then there are like many reasons why Malaysia are starting to change their position and trust towards the government in terms of financial and safety, which is like the first is the incompetency of the government in handling the COVID-19 case in country, which is like they not handling the pandemic well in the country. And then the government started giving the people misinformation for the people how they are ending the disease, because like they misguide the people without researching this newly introduced disease. And also the people will upset and confused over the rules that implement by government, because like such as the movement control, it have a lot of change in short time or keep expand. And then the government is setting big example for the people, like such as not real mass or uh, dinner together. Okay, next slide is
Next time, problem statement will be presented to Shak.
Okay, for the problem statement, nowadays fake news has entered our virtual life, and the worrisome in the previous incident is the spreading false content during this period of the COVID virus disease 2019 outbreak. So the fake news has created content that copycat legitimate news and manipulate the public into believing it is illegitimate. So the second, the decision that had been made by the authorities of each really affect different countries according to the various factors, including Malaysia financial stability. So the several report in the media about the impact of the MCO and the small business. For example, the experienced loss of the daily income due to the instructive supply chain resulting from the closure of the supporting sector, staff termination, and salary cut off are among of the business copy strategies. The third one, there is the unfair treatment between the minister and pupil because minister consider like represent our role model and must be high responsible on this pandemic. Like government making U-turn decision, confusing people about what they need to do next. For example, the government was forced to implement a second national lockdown in the moment of number of cases starting to drop. It's rapidly reopened the economy and school. By April, cases are increasing again.
For research method, we want to identify why the people are not cooperate with the government. What is the perception of the people towards the government during COVID-19 pandemic in their financial and safety? To identify what kind of consequence of government action towards the people to investigate the cause people trust news from media social instead of their government, which mean both of the research is for the objective to know what's the need, what's the perception towards the for the first one, why we want to know why the people are not cooperating with the government, which means why the people are didn't want to listen or didn't want to follow the government action order as the government action are getting doing U-turn as previous mentioned by Sharp in problem statement. The second one is the perception of people is to know is their perception what the action of government has what government action has been affected in their financial and the safety preventing getting infected by the COVID-19 and
真是改，哎呦，
getting safety.
这属于
And
讲啊，
we also want to know what the consequence of the government action towards the people after they're making such a lot of changes towards it. And we want to know after if they are getting distrust or if they don't want to listen anymore towards the government, but they still want to know the COVID-19 situation in the country or outside about COVID-19. They maybe they may or may not follow the or trust follow or may not follow, which is trusting in social media that rather than trusting towards the government announcement. For the research question, we want to know why people not cooperate with the government. What is the perception of people towards the government during COVID-19 pandemic? What kind of consequence of government action towards the people in financial and safety, and what is the cause that make Malaysian trust news from media social instead of trusting in their government. This is the following from research objective. For hypothesis, we make a hypothesis that most people suffer from financial problem during COVID-19 pandemic. During COVID-19 pandemic, sorry. Second hypothesis, most people feel unsafe about the vaccine and getting the COVID-19 vaccine. The third is the most people feel upset and frustrated towards the government action. This hypothesis we are referred to the research question and research objective because we want to know what our hypothesis towards what hypothesis we can assume within it. So assumption, we assume that people spend more time trusting fake news on social media than the government. We also assume that people was frustrated towards the government action as they suffer financial crisis and their safety towards the infection rate in COVID-19. The third, we assume that people worry about the side effect of the vaccine of COVID-19. So the literature for LR, we will present our own part. For my part, I will present my people concerned about their financial and safety during COVID-19 pandemic. In the final, first I will speak about the financial aspect. So the first one, many people have lost their job, which also caused the country employment rate to 5.3% by last year 2020, and the latest one has been stated, which the unemployment rate in the country has been, even though it's been lower to 4.6% early this year of 2021, but people still suffer financial crisis. For instance, up to 30% of shop mall has been closed due to lockdown and restriction order by the government, which caused a lot of personnel losing their job. As the Malaysian lockdown is extended its lockdown, some Malaysian on social media amid their fear because a large number of people cannot unable to survive another lockdown some people already losing their job and having a pay cut, having a large sum of salary pay cut by the company, which because of the pay cut. Why? Because they are starting working work from home. So the company they are working with getting a massive pay cut because of that. For the graduate itself, COVID-19 make it difficult to find a job. So they're planning to generate their own income by relying on freelancing to support their so they can support their study and their daily life. Because of that, unemployment for the graduate for the last year were 22.5% in 2020 because of more than 75% of unemployed graduates were actively seeking work, whereby half of unemployed for less than 3 months based on this is based on Datuk Sri Dr. Muhammad Uzir Mahidin statement. So the safety aspect. So some people refuse to take the COVID-19 vaccine shot because they worry of the side effect of the vaccine itself. it's many reasons and affected their health, which caused the accession rate for the COVID-19 vaccines in the country were low. Maybe because of due to their lack of access to high quality information and low health literacy among the low income people, because of large amount of low income during the COVID, because large of low income people. And the misinformation from social media, which led some people to have negative view towards the vaccine. For instance, there are so-called experts on social media sharing negative information about the vaccine, which cause some people to be afraid to take the vaccine or absolutely refuse to take the shot. Mainly the due to people, some expert, they're so-called expert. Some people, so even though some people are, even though the expert, even though some people are also can be considered as expert itself towards in health and vaccination, but they're still giving a negative, they're still sharing negative info towards the people about the vaccine, because some of it, the vaccine is still can be considered, they can be considered as experimental towards the people because of the vaccine has just introduced just 1 year. They don't have enough the result or enough data to gain trust towards the people. For the third one is the Prime Minister Tan Sri Muhyiddin Yassin has announced an action towards the people against getting the vaccine, because so by that they want to conduct some research why they are afraid of it, and or why they don't believe the effectiveness of the COVID-19. So the government will make it mandatory under existing legal provision to ensure that the government the country could achieve herd immunity to curb the spread of COVID-19 transmission. So the second one is the government action during COVID-19 pandemic. This will be present to Elvina.
Okay, so I will present about the action of government during the pandemic. So at first there were not many action from government, and also because of the pandemic invasion not that serious at the time, so there were only small range of place was have action from government towards the small range of place, and then only have the restriction and ban travel to other country, but not inside the Malaysia. And then there was only much more action for the government after those events that causing the COVID-19 pandemic spread wide, such as the religious conference that located at the Masjid Jamek Sri Petaling. So the first action they implement on the pandemic is the movement control order, which is around the March 2020. So the movement of people will be restricted inside the country, and also a lot of rules they need to follow. And then the government also have Malaysia Armed Force to enforce this movement control order. So after that, around the May 2020, government implement another movement control order after the end of MCO. So for this, it's different with the first movement control order that are very strict. A lot of economic activity will be allowed, and then but not mass gathering, but also every people must follow the standard operating procedure, which is the SOP that introduced by the government. That such as they need to wear the mask, maintain social distance under this pandemic, and this movement control order. And then the government also implements the penalties and fines to those individuals that they do not follow the standard operating procedures. And then the next is next slide. So the next one is after the next one is requirement movement control order that is implemented by government on around June 2020. So there will be much more of activity and business will be allowed, but still also need to follow the shop. And then after that, January 2021, another movement control was announced. The difference of this is will be different MCO on and different condition of to every state according their pandemic situation. So after that, it comes with the total lockdown rate is similar with the first NCO because the case was rise or drastically rise in the serious case. And so also they have the capacity of hospital also was limited in such situation. And then this action was kept extended by the government until the last day. They announced that they will continue this until the daily case is lower than 4,000. So actually not only the movement control was implemented by government, but also they have the action on the vaccinate. They meant to vaccinate most of the Malaysia. They also before the vaccinate program, they also have like order the vaccinate from foreign country and other country to ensure the supply of vaccinate able to reach their goal is aim to vaccinate more for Malaysian. And actually not only Malaysia, they also able for the foreign free, but with the priority for Malaysia citizen first.
So this for the third LR will be presented by Sharp for his people's trust in government.
Okay, for the third LR will be the people trust in government. So trust is an important factor for decide the success of any policy. So government must make sure that citizens do not have doubt about its capacity while implementing the effective check on the measure. Based on the expectation of guide and laws imperfect, which decide whether the people will continue to trust on the government. The key to guide the people trust is reliability, responsiveness, fairness, and responsibility. So in the better regulation and organization of government in the design and implementation of responsive measure could increase the people support and trust. So trust is include the condition on the people demand. So that's why the trust is never absolute. So in trust in government show the importance of public support to minimize the conflict between the people and the government. So next. So the lack of the timing and correct communication of the government has caused the refusals of the trust in the government. So if the government is lack of fairness, people start questioning and having the high degree of non-compliant compliance to and conflict on the decision that government makes. So with the unclear information given by the government, people will obtain more detail through the vagueness and information exchange. So the information people obtain doesn't match what the information given by the government. So between this, it will influence people trust in government. So instead of the minister or politician who sometimes giving unscientific and not even a correct advice. So trust in the wrong side will be lead the citizen to feel homeless, depressed, and possibly consider harming themselves or suicide. Next. Okay, for the research methodology, our methodology is we using qualitative is to use to terminate on our study. So there are total 36 respondents who participate in our questionnaire season. So the target age group will be like 18 to 14 years old and above. So there are there are 20 people are male and other 16 is female. So our first hypothesis is terminate that a lot of people suffer from financial problem during the COVID-19 pandemic. So the status of the respondent are important to determine the first hypothesis. So because there are a lot of respondents are students, there are 16 people for our respondent and other working status are 16 pupil and the rest are only one pupil for the doing home online business. So our independent variable will be the first hypothesis is the government action, the dependent variable, the feeling of the pupil, and the null hypothesis is the most of people do not suffer from the financial problem during the COVID-19 pandemic. Next slide. So for the second hypothesis is the most people feel unsafe about the vaccine and getting by the COVID-19. It's sort according to the age because different age had their own thinking and absorb the different knowledge in the different environment. So the independence variable will be vaccine and COVID-19 virus. The dependent variable, the feeling of the pupil. The non-hypothesis is the most people feel safe about the vaccine and getting by the COVID-19. And the last hypothesis is the most people feel upset and frustrated toward the government action. It's sort according to the status of the respondents. So the independence variable will be government action. Dependence variable will be the feeling of people. So the non-hypothesis is the most people do not feel upset or frustrated toward the government action. Next. So the data analysis method, we're using the Google form to create our questionnaire. And the second one is GNU PSPB version 1.4.1 is to test the COPA alpha reliability. Next. So for the research instrument or data collection, we're using the questionnaire. So there are 16 questions there, 9 multiple choice question, 4 linear scale, like rate from the 1 to 5 is like example like less certified to more certified like this. So for the last one is 2 open-end question to ask for the respondent opinion. So the collected data for the each question will be used to test the hypothesis. So the validity and reliability consideration. So the questionnaire that we create is simple and easy to understand by the respondent. So, so the respondent will feel relaxed and comfortable to make a selection and give their feedback on the question. So we're using the COPA alpha reliability analysis to test the reliability of the questionnaire. So total I got 36 respondents test the reliability result. So there are 11 items that test the reliability, which is question 1 to question 11. So the overall result had the reliability of alpha is equal to 0.38, which is less than 0.5. So this questionnaire is not reliable. We assume that maybe the question or the number of questions is too few or the number of the respondent is not enough. Next.
So I will present for the sampling. So we implemented this topic is from June to September 2021. This sampling is especially is for distribution, mainly distribution for the questionnaire. So the participant will be the citizen that stay locally in Malaysia or outside, or can be considered or outside citizen that outside citizen outside other country that which is citizen that some Malaysian citizen stay at other country, but they also can answer the questionnaire. The questionnaire also included to regard their situation, between safety safety in like getting appointment in vaccine and financial crisis within themselves. What have what have what the COVID-19 have affected? What COVID-19 that the COVID-19 during the COVID-19 what have the government action have affected their financial crisis? So the question also has been mentioned. We're using Google Form and send out the link to all the participants by online. So in our research, we targeted 36 respondents. 20%, 55.6% were male. Other were 44.4%, which is female, which is 16 respondent. For the we also targeted in our questionnaire we targeted the age between 18 to 40 years above. Age of between 18 to 25 are the highest number of responses, which are the 16 respondents, which they are mostly are getting like the new about distribution about we are distributing to them because mainly they are age way more younger. For the age of 26 to 30 respondents are as the second highest number of respondents as we are as the same they can be considered as a working class citizen, but they also have the we also receive a large number based on the bar chart itself. The 31 and to 35 are 4% 4 respondents. As we already as technically the last one is 36 to 40 have 2 respondents. The lower I mean not the last. For the last one is the above 41 years old, which is the one responded above. So this is the status of the respondent, which is a student, working, in training, online home businesses, and none of the above. But we distribute the question here mostly student, which is 19 in total. Working status 16. Doing online at home, meaning business at home. You only have 1 in training, down the above. For now, I will talk about the result and discussion about it. So for the question 1, which is for the real question, question 1, have you recently suffered any financial issue? Which we ask if they are recently affected recently suffer any financial issue during the COVID-19 and what the government action have effective So 47.2% say yes, which is consists of respondent of 17, and which mean they recently have suffered some financial issue. 42.8%, which is the respondent of 19, has choose no, which they will consider as they didn't have suffered any financial issue recently. For the second one, have you get financial aid from the government in this COVID-19 pandemic? For the total of 61.1%, which is the respondent of 22 respondent, have choose yes. 37.8%, which is the respondent of 10, which consists of respondent of 10, have said no. Maybe for the last is maybe is 11.1%, which is the respondent of 4. For the yes one is they receive any, if they're already getting package prima from the, which is the financial aid for that has been introduced and announced by the government help from them, towards them. And we also assume that those are working class citizens that have received financial aid. The 27.8%, we can assume some of people didn't get it, or some people didn't apply it. And also we also assume that for the no session, we will also consider as some student didn't get a financial aid during the COVID-19 pandemic, as the government considered them as minor. 11%, 11.1% for the maybe section is to know that some people have may not get the financial, which means they're unsure. For the assimilation, do you think our government able to manage the economic issues during this pandemic? For the yes, for the year section, for for overall, 13.9%, which is the respondent of number of respondent is 5, say yes. 50% with respondent 18 have said no. 38.1%, which is the number of respondent of 13, say maybe. So I explain this part. 13.9%. Only small amount people. 13.98%. 13.9%, which is the respondent of 9 has chosen yes, which is, we assume that only small amount of people can be considered as they think the government managed the economic crisis for our country, which has been affected by the COVID-19. With the amount of overall, with the amount of 50% have choose no, because of they knew the government have failed to manage the economy crisis, as you know, as recently as the government opened the economy too early, as a result of the COVID-19 crisis, increases, which make the people to stated that the government is already mismanaged the economic crisis within the country. 38.1%, which is the number of respondents of 13, say maybe because they say that unsure, or just maybe have mixed reaction, or have uncertainty. The government are managing the economic crisis during the COVID-19 pandemic. So the planning. So the third one is the issue about this is about the health aspect, safety aspect. So planning to get or waiting for appointment, which is the vaccination, with 2.8%, which is number of respondent 1. Yes, first dose only 36.8%, with the number of respondent of 13. Yes, completed second dose 50%. Number of respondent 18. No, 11.1%. Number of 14. For the let me explain. So the planning to get or wait for appointment 2.8%. The number of which is has small amount of considered people, as we assume that they have waiting or waiting to get appointment from the getting appointment for the vaccine, for getting the vaccination shot through appointment, through manual appointment, or to get appointment notification from MySejahtera app. For the second is the yes, first dose only 36.8%, which number of respondent 13, which is only can be considered as 38 we are stated as 36.8% only get the first dose only, as small amount of people have just get the first dose only lah. So yeah, for the 50%, 50% with the number of respondents of 18 stated that for the choosing yes completed second dose have been can be said that they have overall already taken the vaccine itself and getting and just need to wait the effect of the vaccine itself going past passing through can be go through and need to go through another 14 weeks for the 11.1% choosing no, because they can be considered as unusual, or we assume like unusual or worry about the vaccine itself lah, because some cases that have been plagued by other country or some fake some so-called expert has been sharing some negative info about the vaccine itself. So this is using the Likert scale to know the satisfaction towards know the people's satisfaction towards the government action on ensure the COVID-19 vaccine supply. So it can be 27.8%, which is the highest, has been neutral can be considered neutral, which means they're okay with it with the vaccine, with the government ensuring the vaccine supply. Has been mentioned that the government has made a mistake during the past time as there doesn't enough supply the vaccine itself, because of they only focusing their own the red hotspot that have been, which is such as Selangor, that have been plagued the most of getting getting the highest number of COVID-19 cases.
Daniel, sorry to jump in. I think for your result and discussion, right? How many slides do you have to go before your conclusion and future research?
Lot.
I think you can jump to that conclusion and future research
Okay
because we have time constraint. Yeah, it's okay actually.
Okay. So for the conclusion, data collected from the respondent, which we received is 36 respondent. For our own for the hypothesis that we already stated in research hypothesis, only hypothesis 1 and 3 that we accepted as we concluded using the questionnaire like the H1 accepted. Do you think the pandemic has affected your financial overall cases that has been stated that 4 and 5, which is which they have affected by the COVID affected their financial during the COVID-19. So we can be considered as our hypothesis 1 is accepted. For the number 3, we discuss about the dissemination dispensation towards Malaysia government and government action, which we also consider. We also choosing which side you prefer the news from. 47.2% accepted the from social media. 30.6%, which the number trusting in government announcement, and 32.2% is news. News is actually technically is from what the news like TV3 new Malaysian news that what they can trusted with. The government announcement is like government getting it's like government announced in such as the TV1, TV3, or has been announced. Will be the platform that will be announced, and the announcer will be the Prime Minister itself. Prime Minister itself to announce what the current update situation in during in this COVID-19 crisis. So if we can consider 47.2% trusting in social media as they knew that the government as the government have they think the government have giving the wrong data or getting shady move to ensure that shady move to show the data can be how to say data load not the real data the real data towards the people as to ensure the people not getting panicked during this COVID-19 as also some people want to know if what current update in the social media that have announced about the COVID-19 situation about COVID-19 crisis within the country. So we also second one is trust and approve news that comes from unknown source on social media. Then the government words 8.3% say yes, 44.4% say no, 47.2 maybe, but we consider as maybe as their can be considered as half trusting the government or half trusting unapproved news from other sources. So we can consider as accept for our hypothesis 3. For incorrect is for the hypothesis 2. Most people feel unsafe about the vaccine and getting the COVID-19 vaccine. So we can this is one is from the have you doubt about the effectiveness of the COVID-19 vaccine and its side effect side. Overall can be considered as 55.6% say no, 32.2 has said say yes or maybe, which we can consider as 50. We consider as our hypothesis as 55.6% doesn't have any doubters towards the effectiveness of the vaccine itself, which mean all the people are well informed and well know about the effectiveness, the vaccine, and the safety itself. So about the yes, and maybe which we consider as a low number of percentage, as they consider as there some people are worried about or not gonna take it, are worried about the effectiveness, and some people have mixed or uncertainty towards the vaccine itself. So for the significance of finding research contribution, we confirm that most people still have doubts about overall action done by the government during the COVID-19. As so the government still doing some mistake during the pandemic, the COVID-19 pandemic, and we also need to do some research whether people will accept or still scared about of the effectiveness and side effect of it. We also to make more research about it for the acceptance rate of vaccination shot and the effectiveness and about the fear effectiveness of the COVID-19. We also realized that it is important to differentiate the true and the fake news that we obtain throughout the any method that we already distribute the questionnaire. We also know that some people still trust the true sources from such as the government announcement or news, or some people are trusting in uninformed unapproved sources like fake news that can affect their mindset towards towards the government and the vaccine COVID-19 vaccine. So this data collection also helps us to better understanding why people prefer to trust news from social media instead of government words. This has been stated as our hypothesis result, which is the third hypothesis. The most people are feeling upset and frustrated towards the government action, and we also stated for the unimproved. Mostly we are focusing in news and getting resources, what their sources they're getting to know about the country, about the other country situation during the COVID-19. So we can say that some people still trust more about the social trust more in social media than the government and from the instead of government and words which is the announcement itself. So our limitation was probability of current study is the questionnaire was unable to spread a wider area audience, which mean was we still have not enough people enough people to answer our question, as our questionnaire is kind of, our number of questionnaire respondents is kind of low for limited range and have to for the second one limit range and have to follow SOP that have been set by the government, able to get feedback. We only get feedback statistics not targeted age, but mostly are student, they are student worker. The data have been collected not present the whole population. It's not represent the whole population. Their perception and between the perception, because some people still trust towards the government, and some people only small number of people can be considered as not trusting towards the government. So recommendation is accomplished in peaceful and harmony manner in our country by organization of government implementation of response measure to increase people's support and trust in government. The second one is belief that the incident will be more serious if the government does not take any action to gain back the trust of the people. Research, we also third one, research can take further details what action has been done by the government during the pandemic to ensure that any of the action can increase people in people trust in government in the country or in the towards the government. So this is our presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Daniel. By the way, student, what time is your next class?
2 p.m.
Oh, today is Friday, right? I thought today is Monday. Don't dismiss first. Okay, today is Friday. I forgot. So, thank you, Daniel, Konkenshak, and Alvin. Okay, so I have overall comment first regarding their research. Okay, regarding their research. This title, their research, for me, in my opinion, out of every, I think five group here, their research their title is quite matured compared to, no, I'm not saying that. Yeah, I mean like their research title here is matured. Yeah, I mean like their research title here is matured. Okay, so in terms of research, they have a good research title, and second, they have a good reference. Okay, good reference. Same goes to group Noel, Rachel, Kelvin. They have a very good reference. They have a current reference. Okay, so that one is an overall comment regarding their research. I have one comment actually regarding their research, but I don't want to mention here in this presentation. Later, after this class ended, one of you, Daniel, Alvin, and Konkenshak, you PM me. I don't want to say it here in this class. Okay. Okay, that one is first. So before I ask question, is there any question from the student? So if no, I have a question then. I have a question. First, I have a question to Daniel. Since you do the most of the talking, right? So I have a question to you. Sorry, I mean Daniel. I think in my opinion, right? You did a lot of reading. you did a lot of reading, but the point is the way you deliver your point. I think you did a good job in your reading. I'm not sure why, but I think you make point with your speech. Okay, but it's not the problem actually. It's the way you deliver your point. So I have a question to you, Daniel. So why do you think, because you're using Google Form, right, for your research to get your data? So why do you think that Google Form is suitable for your research?
Google Form is can be considered.
Daniel.
We can say that it's much easier to create a questionnaire. We also try using like more. We also want to make it easier to distribute to everyone using the Google Form server to make it Google. Sorry let me start from the beginning kind of rush. Sorry. I just want to say why we using Google Form to create our questionnaire. Mainly we want to distribute the questionnaire to everyone, so everyone notice about notify be able to participate in the able to participate to our question, to answer our questionnaire. So we also want to using why we using Google Form to our to create to for our questionnaire. We also because it's much easier to create a questionnaire in Google Form, because the layout has been provided, and so to say that it's much easier for us to just put what question we can put it inside the Google Form.
Okay. So here I'm referring to your, I'm referring to your article here, to your report. So other than Google Form, what method that you use to get the data for your research here? For your research.
Some data we other mostly we how to say we just mostly we just using Google Form only, but other sources we most some of it we using other article that have been provided other team member such as Shark. He also provided some article that consists of some number of data that have consists of what perception that can be said to towards the government towards the effectiveness of the COVID-19 and the financial issue in the country we also read some article news like proof news, like the Star Online, the Star News Straight Time. We also want to know what's the current situation, or we also want the current situation towards about it. We also want to know what's the perception, because some comment we also track in track in social media such as Instagram. Instagram about some people, because some legal there are some approved news also can be considered, can come from social media. Only some, like the News Street Time and the Malaysia Kini, they have provided which consists of comment that they already stated that some they have mixed review, mixed comment, or have bad comment towards the government action like that.
Okay. Good point, Daniel. So here, as mentioned by you, you're using Google Form and article from other researcher. Okay. So thank you, Daniel, for your answer. So next, I want to ask Alvin.
Yes.
Yes, Alvin. So I want to ask you, based on my statement just now, you're using Google Form and article from other researcher. So between these two, Google Form and the article in your LR, which one do you think should be the primary source of your data?
Article, because most of my LI is for the government action, so I need to a lot of article that have mentioned about have record and mention about the government action, and then I need to exit the previous record to write my LR to how the government implement the action in the start from the pandemic.
So
Uh,
you're saying, sorry, yes, continue. What just now, Alvin? Actually, I'm processing your words. So you're saying that your article in your LR should be your primary resource, right? Google, what is primary resources? Is that what you're trying to say, Alvin? Primary resources is the article from the LR. Is that so?
yes.
No, it's okay, Daniel. Sorry, it's okay, Alvin. Let me take it from here. Let me explain. Okay, so in research, how do you know which one should be your primary and which one should be your secondary research? Secondary source of data. You need to identify which one should be the main source of your data. Okay, which one should be the main source of your data? So the purpose I'm asking here, because they are using to not only this group, actually other group as well, but I'm asking this to their group. So the main the main way for you to know which one is the main or primary source or secondary source is you see at your methodology which one that you analyze the most. Here in their article here, I'm referring to your article here, you are analyzing the Google form. So that one should be your most of your data here in your analysis here is from your Google form. Okay, and in fact that one is the first one you can see from the analysis of data. Most of this stuff here in this article, in this part here is based on the Google form. Okay, second reason is from your title, Malaysian perception and trust towards their government and in term of financial and safety in COVID-19 pandemic. Okay, so here you can get primary data, primary resources through us. We are Malaysian. I mean you can get a direct data actually, direct data from the user. Okay, you can spread your Google form and then you can get the response. That one is a primary data. In fact, to support my statement too, if you remember, I remember this one. In our lecture note, this one article should usually will fall to the secondary source of data, okay, because it is others research. Okay, so usually other article should go to the secondary data. Not necessary, but usually yes. Okay, not necessary, usually yes. Okay, that one for Daniel. That one for Alvin just now. It's okay, Alvin. Thank you. Next, I have a question. Just now I have question for Konken Shak, but he already explained. Just now I want to ask validity of questioning. He mentioned no. In his slide just now, he mentioned or he point that the questioning is not reliable. However, he already explained what can be the factor to that one. That one, he mentioned two factors just now. First is number of questions, second number of respondent. So I cancel that question and I have a next question. So I want to ask you, Konken Shak, why do you think you need to have a target? I mean, in terms of age, why do you think it is relevant? Or what do you think the age, I mean, like, what is the significant relevance of the age to your research here, to the data that you will collect?
Okay, so like previous the research methodology I got mentioned there, cause solved by the age, because any age of the pupil got like own thinking, because they absorb the different knowledge in the different environment. So like in young pupil doesn't think more than the old pupil. So the age how to say uh, mm,
They encounter more. Is
yeah,
it?
yeah, because the the older people will like they already like face a lot of things or a lot of problems, so they maybe will think more about it to like yeah.
Okay, Konkenshak. Let me summarize what you said just now. So my question here is, why do you think the age have significant relevant to your research? So your answer just now is what you're saying that older people have encountered more, so they have more experience and they have matured thinking. So they their answer will be the response from the matured people will be more valid compared to those underage, if may I use the term underage people. Is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah.
Okay lah kan Syak. Accept my answer. That's the best way. By the way, yes, I agree. I think I can get what you're trying to say. It is because those people who are older and quantum more experience, so they have that matured opinion that can contribute to the input of your research. Okay. Yeah, I already asked. No question, right? I think that's all the question that I want to ask. So thank you, Alvin. Thank you, Daniel. Thank you, Kon Ken Shak. Okay. So good research actually. But don't forget, one of you should PM me. I have one comment, but I don't want to mention here in this class because I have my own reason. Okay. So that's the end of the presentation of your research. Is there any question regarding your any research topic or any research anything that related to assignment?
Yes, the comment for which group?
The comment for what?
Just now, Miss had got comment for which group?
Our group only,
I
I
have,
think.
Oh,
only
okay.
for Konken Shark.
Oh,
Then
okay.
yeah, that one is not not related to other group. But I don't want to say it here because I have my own reason. Okay. So yeah, no question regarding the assignment, right? So
No.
actually, maybe you still don't understand. Maybe you think that I can capture few of you based on the writing. Some of you did really did the reading, and some of you have a good way of writing, and some of you did this assignment just because it is compulsory for you to do so. Okay, I can know from the way of your writing. So this research method is actually like preparation for your FYP. So this will be very useful for you. So whatever the knowledge I share with you here, I hope it can help you during your FYP. I'm not sure yet if I will be with you guys, or I'm not sure. Even next time, I'm not sure yet if I will be with you guys. With TAR, you see, I'm not sure that one. But whatever I share with you, especially for this RM, I hope it will be very helpful because next week, actually we have one more week, which is week 14. However, I want to finish everything by this week so that next week we can focus on OOAD. Okay, if no objection, I want to focus on OOAD on Friday. So actually, I have a checklist. So in my checklist, I already covered everything for research method. Okay, everything. So if you think that I miss out anything, you can tell me. But in my, yeah, I can be wrong too. I might be wrong too. So if you think that I miss out anything, you can tell me. So regarding your mark, actually, honestly, especially those two, not especially those who presented last week, I already have your mark here. I didn't share my screen, right? No, I don't want to share my screen. Okay, so actually I have the mark here for those who already presented last week. So as you already know, for this course research method, you don't have exam. You only have midterm, which is 40%, and then this assignment, which is 60%. So I can see here already your final grade for this subject, for this course. Hmm, I think most of the student here, the lowest should get B, got B. I mean, But yeah, that one you will see later in your result. Okay. So for your assignment, those last presented last week, I think 4 group. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 6. Yeah, only 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5, 6 here, right? So assignment, the last or the highest, I think, is it okay for me to mention who got the highest mark for assignment? For midterm, I don't want to mention here. For assignment, assignment 93, 93. Wait, oh yeah. Should I mention? I will mention the highest only. But don't worry. I think your final grade here, final grade for this course, the lowest one is B. So the highest mark for assignment is this one, including your. Even though you are in one group, this one is your mark for your assignment is different because you have that evaluation from your friend. Okay, so you have different mark. So the highest goes to this guy. His name is too long for me to mention. Ian. Ian is the highest. Okay, so come closest to him is this guy, Jeremiah. And then Wong NYAP. And then this guy too, Russell, right? Russell. Yeah, Russell. Okay, so I think most of you did well. Actually, most of you above 80 actually for your assignment. Above 80 for your assignment. So here I already have your grade, but this grade I want you will find out later. Okay, your final grade for this course. Okay, so I just share the highest, but like I said, most of you, not most of you, all of you get above 80 here. Yeah, above 80. Celine too is quite high. Wong Zisheng, Zisheng haven't. Oh, Wong just now, the Wong NYAP. Yeah, Jonathan, Jeremiah, and Wong, and Russell, team 2. I think Ivan too. Ivan, Celine too. The group. Okay, so like I said, most of you get 80 above. So you know already, you can estimate already what is your final grade because 60% is from your final assignment and 40% is from your midterm. Like I said, I will try to help you as much as I can for your assignment, but for your midterm, there's nothing I can help you. Okay, because midterm is not by me. Okay. So is there any way? I mean, wait, Noel. All above 80 is for assignment only. Okay, not for your final grade. No. Yeah, assignment only. So come down there. Okay, assignment only. Yeah, assignment only 80%. I mean, above 80 out of 100. So above 80 out of 100, right? You can multiply by 60. So those who wants to know the mark, you can PM me. I won't tell you the exact mark here. Okay. So I think that's all for research method. Is there any question? Oh, since no question, we already extend the time. FOA like midterm, final online assessment. Final online assessment. Research method, we have no. Oh, you want Kelvin, I can send your name to my CC. I will request for you. No problem, Kelvin Shak. So yes, no final online assessment. So 60% from your assignment, 40% from your midterm. So even though you think that your midterm is low, don't worry for that. You have high mark for assignment, should be okay. No one will get C. The lowest will be 70 above. for your final grade. Sorry, final grade. Okay, so I think that's all. We can dismiss. Okay, guys. Bye bye.